Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony Sier, as always, your host for the hour of politics here at Focus on Liberia. And as always, we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Folks, the hour of politics, another exciting edition. Welcome and stay tuned as we go into this conversation. Hit the share button quickly, share with a friend, share with a colleague, share in the chat room. If you are a member of the opposition unity party, you want to be here. If you are also a member of the CPP, you want to be here. If you are also a member of the ruling party, the CDC, you want to be here. If you are a Liberian, if you are looking for leadership in Liberia, tested for leadership as I am, you must be here. Folks, welcome, and let's get started here quickly. I don't want to waste your time. The topic for today is Joseph Boakai. Focus on Liberia started a Periscope series where we look into the public profile, the public record of political individuals who are playing key roles in the governance of our country. And today we are throwing the spotlight on Mr. Joseph Boakai. We want to look at his public record, and we will be able to unearth some things and bring something to light that you may not know. Mr. Boakai wants to be president. He contested as president. And so we need to know, who is Joseph Boakai? What has he been up to? What is his record as a public official? And if we look at that record, we want to know whether those records qualify him to be the man for the job comes 2023. And so what we're trying to do here is to X-ray Boakai politically, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and so that Liberians can get to know who their former vice president is, who also a purported standard bearer of the CPP, is, by many of them are saying they're going to win it, right? So that's what I thought to say that. But I don't want to bore you with too much of intro. Let's get to it. And so, folks, Joseph Boakai is being periscoped by me here at the hour of politics. I focus on Liberia. Many of you might be getting to know now that this is what I do. Yes, and I love this. So let's talk about Joseph Boakai. We know that Joseph Boakai was born on November the 30th, 1994 in Foya District, Lofa County. We know Mr. Boakai to be happily and faithfully married to his wife. He got married to his wife, my understanding, since 1972. Since then, Mr. Boakai has been married to his sweetheart. We know Boakai is a Christian and who having to be a deacon in the F of Baptist Church. In terms of education, we know that Mr. Boakai attended primary school and high school in Sierra Leone and also in Liberia, and that he graduated from the College of West Africa. Sometime he went to the University of Liberia in 1972, where he netted a bachelor degree in business administration. Our research shows that Mr. Boakai also attended the Kansas State University, and he graduated, if our research is accurate, in 1976. And so that is a little about Mr. Boakai in terms of education. Mr. Boakai will go to work in both private and the public sector, but our emphasis in this discussion in periscoping Mr. Boakai will be on his work in the public sector in Liberia. And so let us get to it and then get to know Mr. Boakai. First of all, we want to remind you, Mr. Boakai is the former vice president for Liberia. Former Vice President Joe Boakai, public service record from 1970 to 2017. That's what we are looking at. So let's get there. Joe Boakai worked as a resident manager starting 1973 to 1980, and will go on to become the managing director from 1980 to 1982 for the Liberian Produce Marketing Corporation at the LPMC. So we can say that he was at that institution for 9 years. And so what did Boakai accomplish at the institution for the 9 solid years that he served as head of that agency of government? The Liberia Marketing, the Liberia Produce Marketing Corporation was, or state, I mean, it was an institution, I should say, because it's now transformed to the Liberia Regulatory Authority right now. And so Boakai served there for 9 years, and that institution was in charge of, agricultural produce, and it's supposed to regulate and try to create the environment for farmers to be able to interact and be able to access market, bringing their produce. And so that institution was there to regulate all the activities, and it was charged with the responsibility to ensure that farmers were given the enabling environment for them to be able to thrive in trying to increase agricultural productivity in Liberia. And so let's see what Boakai did at the time. When he was there an improvement in the Liberia marketing produce or sector at the time? I mean, the agricultural produce or products at the time. Was there an increase in the activities of farmers at the time? Well, that was many years ago, as you can see there, from 1973 to 1980, and then from 1980 to 1982. And so what we know is that, many others are saying when Boakai was there, he was able to transform that institution. But I'm not sure there was any major transformation that took place under Boakai's administration at the time. But I hear from one of Boakai's, campaign agents, that is Rabbi Monsieur Kpade. Monsieur Kpade wrote about Joseph Human Boakai, about his ability and what he was able to do at the Liberia Produce Marketing Corporation. So let's see what Monsieur said. According to Monsieur, former Vice President Boakai, served that position with distinction. According to him, during that time, when he was the managing director of the Liberia Produce and Marketing Corporation, he said that loafer became the breadbasket of Liberia. That is what Rabbi Monsieur Kpade, who is an affiliate here at Focus on Liberia, he served on Joseph Human Boakai campaign, and so there's no surprise that he will come to be able to elevate Boakai's record at the LPMC at the time when Boakai. So he said, loafer became the breadbasket of Liberia. And many of you who probably might have been around, he went on to say farmers across Liberia were lustrously incentivized, and they were able to reap handsomely from the yields. Is that actually true? Well, I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. I think the Liberia Produce Marketing Corporation was not solid. It was not producing, was not engaging the farmers in a relatively substantive manner for the farmers to be able to, produce more food at a time. That was not the case. And so I want to register my sincere disagreement here with Rabbi Monsieur Kpade, because as we know, most of the farmers at the time were still using cutlasses. And so when you say Mr. Boakai was able to transform that institution and increased productivity in the agricultural sector at the time, then our people should have abandoned just using the cutlass and the hoe and all that, and they should have gravitated to some form of mechanized farming, at the time. But for the most part, during that time, folks were still using their cutlasses. People would have to use cutlasses to cut. So that was what was happening. And so I don't believe that. And at the time, Liberia was still pretty much importing a lot of things in the country. So what I'm saying is that Mr. Boakai did not transform the institution. He did not upgrade, the farmers' status, their productivity. At the time, he did not provide leadership at that institution to increase their productivity, because there was not places created for them to be able to. He didn't build facilities that the farmers would be able to carry their produce, for preservation and things like that. He didn't create zones where the farmers would be able to interact with consumers and all that. That did not happen. That did not happen, and that is the fact. So Mr. Boakai, having served almost 9 years at that institution, did not actually transform that institution. But fast forward, Mr. Boakai will become Minister of Agriculture, a position he served from 1983 to 1985. Joe Boakai served as Minister of Agriculture under former President Samuel Kanya Doe. As Agriculture Minister, according to our colleague Robert Monsieur Padet, productivity, according to him, went up to $54 million. That Liberia was able to increase its agricultural productivity to $54 million, he said. But what Monsieur failed to tell us is what was the revenue being generated from the agricultural sector before Boakai took over. Monsieur will not tell us, except to tell us that $54 million was generated in revenue. So there's no way that we can be able to tell whether there was an increase in productivity in terms of agriculture in revenue. He just said he increased it to $54 million, but from where? He will not tell us. So again, the record there is completely vague. And during that time, we have WADA. Mr. Boakai also chaired the WADA at the time. It was the West African Rice Producing kind of Cooperation. Mr. Boakai chaired that. I think 15 West African countries were part of that. The goal was to increase rice productivity in Liberia at the time. But many of you might be aware, or if you're not, let me let you know, rice production in Liberia was not on a massive scale. It was done on a very limited level, despite this institution that Mr. Boakai chaired at the time, despite his serving as agriculture minister. No, not much was done. So the idea that Lofa became a bread basket of Liberia, I know people can say that, people can fantasize about that, but how much of a bread basket that Lofa was to Liberia when Liberia was still importing even the very rice, so I'm not sure Mr. Boakai, was able to improve agriculture at the time in Liberia, because the last time I checked, Liberia was not involved into massive production of rice. We didn't gravitate from the subsistence farming to mechanized farming during Joseph Yuma Boakai's administration. So what I'm saying is that this is Boakai, who have had the opportunity to serve as the LPMC for 9 years, and then he will go to the Agricultural Ministry and serve there for also many years under the Doe administration, and there was no significant transformation and increase in terms of productivity during his administration. So the point I'm trying to get at, that I want you to understand here, is that Boakai did not make any significant impact that departed from whatever was a low productivity at the time to a kind of upward of massive productivity. No, that did not happen. It was more like somebody serving as an administrator who did not make any significant impact in terms of productivity. So no, I disagree. So that was Mr. Boakai's record at the time he served as agriculture minister. Now, While serving as Agriculture Minister, Boakai chaired the 15 Nation West African Rice Development Association, and what that I was telling you about. This institution, the goal was to increase rice production in West Africa, and Liberia at the time having to be one of the regions, but I don't think there was much rice production that took place at the times. Liberia did not become self-sufficient in terms of rice production, or rice productivity in Liberia. That did not happen under Joseph Boakai. So this was a man who had another excellent opportunity to demonstrate his leadership, to increase productivity, especially in the area of rice production. Not only did he had the control of the agricultural ministry, he was also in control of WADA, an institution of 15 countries in West Africa. So resources was being brought together pretty much by all these countries to increase rice productivity in Liberia. When was the last time you heard that Liberia was so sufficient in rice production? You people know how we do eat rice. So again, Mr. Boakai, former Vice President Joseph Boakai, had another excellent opportunity, all right, to increase productivity, to demonstrate his leadership to an appreciable level, to the point that it would have impacted the country in terms of food security. That did not happen when Boakai was agriculture minister. Fast forward, we also learned that Joseph Boakai, in 1992, he was the managing director of the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company. Again, another excellent opportunity. What is the LPRC? The LPRC, pretty much, as the name suggests, is the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company. But are they really refining anything in Liberia? No. Nothing is being refined in Liberia. Joseph Boakai, who folks who support him, who say is an excellent leader, that he has the experience to be able to lead, he was given another excellent opportunity. What the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company has been a main storage facility. Many of you have seen the tanks there at the compound of LPRC. All they do is they bring petroleum products, and then they upload petroleum product into these facilities. And that's how it has been all along. But it is called the Liberian Petroleum Refinery Company. Do you know of anything being refined by the Liberian Petroleum Refinery Company? No. So Boakai needed to be able to make sure that that institution, live the name that it was given, or it has been given, to refine petroleum product in Liberia. But what Mr. Boakai did exactly what those before him did. Use the entire company, use that entire agency of government as a main storage facility. Another test of leadership for Boakai to demonstrate that as a leader, when he's given an opportunity to lead an institution, he will be able to transform it to an appreciable level. Mr. Boakai did not do that. The time he was there, the refinery company was just a mere storage facility. Today, as we speak, the LPRC remains a main storage facility. One administration after the other. All they do is, the thing is more like if you have a container in your house and you say, oh, I refine water. And then there's this container and people continue to bring water to you. You put the water in there, you don't refine anything. Are you actually refining water? No, you are not refining water. You are just storing water, and that's why it is. But if you look at the name of the institution, the agencies of government is the Liberian Petroleum Refinery. They don't refine anything. So that institution has been tested for leaders, or a leader who will come to make the institution to carry out what it was established for. It was not established only to serve as a storage facility. It was established to serve as a storage facility, regulate petroleum products, and also be able to go into refining petroleum products. did Boakai do that? Boakai did not achieve that. But yet, Mr. Boakai, we are being told by his supporters, by his fans, by his political apologists, that he is a man who has the wherewithal in terms of leadership, who has the leadership gravitas to be able to transform any institution. And Mr. Boakai will contest for the presidency, but I will get to that. So if we look at the opportunities Mr. Boakai had from LPMC to LPRC, but from LPMC to Agricultural Ministry and an LPRC, what we've seen is he has been serving just as any other Liberian official of government who will just sit there, just sign name papers, and not transform the institution. Boakai did not transform the LPMC when he had that opportunity to serve. I believe, if my calculations is right, Mr. Boakai served that institution for 9 years. He did not transform anything. When he became Minister of Agriculture, rice production in Liberia was at an all-time low. We Liberians do eat rice. If Boakai at the time he was there has increased rice productivity, Liberia will have no reason to engage into rice importation at the time. Liberia would have been self-sufficient in the production of rice. But his supporters would tell us Lofa became the breadbasket. I can say my time was the breadbasket because my parents could make farm, we could have a cassava, we could have a rice. Anybody can say that. And that's a system farming our people have been doing. Some way, somehow, they've been able to sell some of those things. Lofa being a bigger county and having more farmers and then coming, to sell something does not necessarily mean that Lofa County was the breadbasket. What was Liberia importing at the time? If Lofa was the breadbasket, or Lofa was just the breadbasket for Lofa or for Liberia, we're talking about productivity at a massive scale or as an appreciable scale that would be able to boost the government or revenue generation. That was never the case. What was Liberia exporting rice at the time? I'm not sure of that. My research did not, bring me to that conclusion. We have WADA. 15 countries came together. Boakai was chairing it when he was agriculture minister. Rice productivity did not increase to the level that Liberia was exporting rice around the neighboring countries. What do you call that? Somebody will say that was a failure because he has an excellent opportunity to be able to deliver. But what he did was just what exactly others before him did. Sit in the office, pass around a little bit, being called honorable, being called Mr. Minister, and that's what it is. The job was to increase productivity, create the enabling environment so that the Liberian people's lives would be impacted in terms of food production and food security and food sufficiency in the country. That was never the case during his time. But let's hear what Darius DeLong had to say about Mr. Boakai. Let's hear what Darius DeLong had to say about Mr. Boakai. Let's hear what Darius DeLong had to say about Mr. Boakai. Just bear with me here. And so the idea that Mr. Boakai is this transformational leader who has served with distinction at every era of government he has worked is just a bluff. To say that he was there and that's it. When you serve to impact life, to make a difference, to increase, the provision of a service, and that is the goal. That did not happen. The records are clear about that. The records are clear about that. So let me find this for you quickly and show it to you for us to hear from Darius DeLong, what DeLong had to say about Boakai. Let me take this out of here. And so, folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is the Hour of Politics with me, Anthony Sie. We are periscoping Joseph Boakai. former vice president of the Republic of Liberia. We are looking at his public record for the time he served in government. And we want to be able to know whether Mr. Boakai's record is sufficient for us to say he will make a good president. So let's see what DeLon said about Boakai. Let me read what DeLon said about Boakai concerning his public service record. This is Darius DeLon writing about his political godfather, Joseph Yaman Boakai. Let me make it big so that folks can be able to see here quickly. So bear with me here. So this is DeLon writing. VP Joe Boakai people always deny he was ever dismissed before. We have proven them wrong. Exposing Major Boakai. He's calling him Major because he served in the APRC, APRC government, that is the People Redemption Council, under Master Sergeant Samuel Kanyando. And during that time, if you were in government, you needed to be a major. They would give you a rank because it was more like a military or junta kind of government. So he was being referred to as Major Boakai. We have proven them wrong. Exposing Major Boakai was indeed dismissed by President Samuel Kanyando for alleged $2 million USD financial impropriety. Boakai was Minister of Agriculture in 1985 when he was dismissed by President Doe. The most embarrassing part about Major Boakai dismissals was that President Doe recalled him from London, where he was representing Liberia at a conference, and ordered him to return home immediately. This fact cannot be challenged, but Boakai folks will stay shamelessly argue. Also, we exposed before that Mr. Joe Boakai was again dismissed in the early 1990s from LPRC during the Amon Sawyer interim administration for gross ineptitude. Underline that word, gross ineptitude. This is DeLon. Darius DeLon dealing with his godfather, Joseph Yaman Boakai. All right, classify him as a man of gross ineptitude. I know they say they are in political love right now, but the Boakai people have said it is a lie. Well, here is a 1991 Inquirer newspaper that reported Boakai's dismissal by then interim president Amon Sawyer. You can't say the lie. So as you can see, there is the Inquirer newspaper. You see it right there. So it says Education Minister LPRC boss dismissed. At that time, former Vice President Joseph Yaman Boakai was the boss of the LPRC. He, along with the Education Minister, I believe this is Teofilo Sompon, that was dismissed by Amon Sawyer administration. So there is DeLon making a case against Boakai, saying in clear terms that Mr. Boakai was dismissed because of what? Gross ineptitude. The word ineptitude is the inability for someone to be able to display their skills in terms of leadership and performance. That was Darius DeLon. And the very Darius DeLon, read under the newspaper article that I'm displaying there, folks, there is Darius DeLon there, sitting before the very Joseph Yaman Boakai. He sat on the ground, and he is doing that while his senator was elected by the people of Monserrado County to be able to represent them. After he dealt with Boakai many years ago, the very DeLon will go and sit in front of him as a child who has gone to his father to beg for bread. Do you see the hypocrisy there? So, folks, that was what Darius DeLon said about Joseph Yaman Boakai. He went into the closet of Joseph Yaman Boakai and described him as somebody with gross ineptitude, or who demonstrated gross ineptitude as the reason why he was dismissed as the boss of LPRC. And earlier, I was telling you, when he was at LPRC, he did not do anything transformational at that institution of government. It was a man's storage facility. He did not transform it into a refinery. The refinery that is supposed to be, Joseph Yuma Boakai could not do that. He maintained it as a man storage facility. So you can decide whether or not Darius DeLong has a point here for referring to him or saying that he was dismissed for gross ineptitude. So the very Darius DeLong who said all these things, who even floated the idea or said that Mr. Boakai was dismissed by former President Samuel Kanyando because of a $2 million impropriety. We have done our searching here and there. We did not come across a story to prove that Joseph Yuma Boakai was dismissed. But DeLong, for us, we like to corroborate whatever we bring to you. All right. Or we need to find somebody who can confirm to us that yes, this is true, and then we can. So we did our searching. We didn't lay anything, well, we didn't lay our hands on anything to confirm that he was dismissed from financial impropriety. So those of you who've been around, for long and watching, there's a comment section. You can go there and comment and let us know whether this story that DeLong is talking about is true. So DeLong said he was dismissed by Doe when he was serving as Minister of Agriculture. And he went further by saying the most embarrassing thing was that he was in London representing Liberia at a conference when Doe told him, hey, Major Boakai, come right back. Because, quote unquote, Ms. Propriety, for of a 2 million USD at a time, according to what's his name, your man, Darius DeLong, quote unquote, the light. So this is DeLong, but let's see what happened. What happened is that when DeLong said that, another lieutenant, another able lieutenant of Joseph Yuma Boakai will come to Boakai's rescue, and that was Mo Ali. So let's hear from Mo Ali what Mo Ali had to say about Joseph Yuma Boakai in defense of Joseph Yuma Boakai. We have some information here to share with you, so stay with us as we go into details with this Periscope series here. So let's see. So when DeLong said that, Mo Ali said, no, I can't be here and DeLong going after my political godfather. So this is what Mo Ali, I'm not sure you'll be able to read it. I'm not sure you'll be able to read it. So let me make adjustment here quickly. Let me make adjustment here quickly so that folks can be able to see it. Let me make adjustment here. I want you to be able to read these things. Let me drive you along. Okay, I think you will be able to see it now. So as you can see, Mo Ali in 2017, DeLong and the uninformed folks in the Liberty Party have been parading with lies around here about Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai. Around here that Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai was dismissed in the 1980s for the theft of $2 million. However, the December 17, 1985 edition of the New Liberia newspaper says something else. Contrary to the lies coming from the LP, Ambassador Boakai was actually given another position. Please read the paper below. And then Mo Ali will go to share the newspaper. And so let me show you that newspaper article that he was referring to. Let me find that newspaper article he was referring to, and then we can be able to talk about that. And so, folks, why I find that, let me tell you that Mo Ali said what DeLong said about Joseph Yuma Boakai being dismissed for $2 million theft by the Doe regime was a lie. He went further by saying that no, that was not the case. And in fact, Joseph Yimam Boakai was given a new position. He was given a new position. Let's see whether or not that is true. So I found that article. Let me share that with you quickly so that we can connect the dots, and then we do our analysis as we continue this exciting Periscope series of Joseph Yimam Boakai. So here we are. This is the article. As you can see, Kape Boakai get new post. If you see here, the man with the long hair, the old man had afro at the time, is Joseph Yimam Boakai. So from the article, and Moore Ali is right, in the December 17, 1984, Joseph Yimam Boakai got a new position. But DeLong is also right concerning the newspaper article, the Inquirer newspaper article that talk about Boakai being dismissed from the FPRC. Yes, he was dismissed, and the article captured that. But according to Mo Ali, citing this or quoting this newspaper, which we have here in our possession, Joseph Yimam Boakai got a new position at the time. And like I said earlier, our research, we were not able to find any newspaper confirming what DeLong said in 1982. Now, we are not saying that DeLong is lying. It's just that we didn't find any material to be able to confirm what DeLong said about Boakai's dismissal in 1985. I believe, yeah, 1985. We couldn't find a newspaper to confirm that. But he went further by saying the man was even recalled by Doe, and that was embarrassing. So why are we saying these things? We are saying these things because these things bring to question Mr. Joseph Yimam Boakai's excellent leadership ability that folks in the Unity Party and his supporters continue to tote around here, that he's this excellent public servant who everywhere he went, he was able to be able to transform those places that he had the opportunity to serve. From the records that we see so far, and that is not the truth, because the LPMC, the Agricultural Ministry, there was no significant transformation at an appreciable level that we saw during the time of Joseph Yimam Boakai was there. And so let us go a little further here. Let's go a little further here. Talking about Joseph Yimam Boakai. Joseph Yimam Boakai, fast forward, folks, will become Liberia's vice president. But before Joseph Yimam Boakai becoming vice president, let me break some news for you that many of you might not know. Joseph Yimam Boakai first wanted to be president. Boakai wanted to be president. He started his campaign as a presidential candidate before Ellen could ask him to become, her running mate. Joseph Yimam Boakai, from what we know based on our research and interviews from his neighbor, Joseph Yimam Boakai does not have a good relationship with his neighbors. Now that he and his neighbors are fighting, now that they have gone at loggerheads or nothing, but he does not have a good relationship with his neighbors. He does not interact with his neighbor. He's a guy who is conserved. From work, he gets into his car and enter his compound. Joseph Yimam Boakai, when he was vice president, could not even provide electricity for his neighbors. Most of his neighbors, they didn't have electricity, and he would not help them. The point I was making earlier about his presidential ambition, when he started a presidential ambition, prior to, announcing his candidacy or trying to start effort for his presidential run, Joseph Yimam Boakai was this guy who never interacted with his neighbors. He was all by himself. He was always in his compound. And so when he told his neighbors that he was running, when he called the first meeting, he got few bottles, few crates of soft drink. Some of his neighbors came around, and people are like, wow, really? The attendance was even poor. People were shocked that this man that have lived with them as a neighbor for that long, never interacted with them, saw reason out of a sudden to call their attention and try to interact with them because he wanted a job, which is the presidency. And fast forward, we understand that even when Joseph Yimam Boakai contestant along with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in that community where he lived. They were massively flogged. They didn't get sufficient votes in that community. Even when he contested as president in the 2017 election, Joseph Nyeman Boakai did not do well. Most of his neighbors did not vote for him. He does not have any good relationship with his neighbors. He was this guy who was always entering the house and just going away. He never had time to interact with neighbors. He never had any good relationship with his neighbor. Even up to today, some of his neighbors has confirmed that he's conserved. He stays in his house. He does not interact with neighbors. But that Boakai will go on to tell us love Liberia and build Liberia, and we'll get to that. What happened during the campaign? We will get to that when he decided this time to run for the presidency. So as I was saying, he made effort. He tried to run as president. He called his neighbors. The reception was poor. The neighbors were shocked. What? We live here all along. You didn't even care to interact with us. Now you want to be president at a time. You're buying few crates of soft drink and calling your neighbors. That did not go well. But then Ellen will snatch him as a vice presidential candidate, and it'll go on to win, and something that we will get to. What happened during the time he was vice president. So maybe we should get to that quickly, because that is where Boakai was completely revealed. That was the true test of his leadership. He was vice president. He was the second in command in the Republic of Liberia. They have 12 solid years to transform the country and improve the life of the Liberian people. And before I get to that, it is important for me to remind you, there is this story that's been going around that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf inherited a failed state. Liberia was completely zero. Yes, Liberia was in a difficult situation. Liberia was challenged. But mind you, before the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, we had a transitional government that was in place. That transitional government was in place for 2 years. 2 years. And during that time, we had peacekeepers. We had a government that was functioning to some level. Somebody will say to a Liberia standard. Somebody will say to a war-torn country standard. We had that. So this idea that Liberia was completely zero and Ellen took over and Ellen dug all out of the hole. If there's any hole, or if there was any hole that Ellen dug Liberia out of, it was just the dirt. Yes, the institutions have failed, but the interim government at the time was trying to resuscitate the government gradually. And then during that time, we have the United Nations peacekeeping mission that was in Liberia. Liberia was heavily funded. That was the greatest period in Liberia's history to have received a significant budgetary support. And it was during that time, Joseph Nyeman Boakai was your vice president. He was the second in command at the time. And so this idea that Joseph Nyeman Boakai and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, took Liberia from zero and completely nothingness to a place where Liberians could say yes. But if you look at the massive support that they received, you will know that Joseph Nyeman Boakai, as VP of Liberia, was not on his A game at all. In fact, in the words of Joseph Nyeman Boakai, he was parked in the garage. That was his own words. And I will use this statement as I continue my presentation here. And so the idea that Joseph Nyeman Boakai was this missed opportunity in the 2017 election, let's look at the record of Joseph Nyeman Boakai. I have laid out his record from the 70s all the way to the 80s, and now let us come to the 90s rather. Let us come to the time he became a vice president of the Republic of Liberia. So Joseph Nyeman Boakai was vice president of the Republic of Liberia. And what was the thing that came from Boakai's mouth? Boakai said he will pack. And not only that, that they squander opportunities. Boakai's own words, that they squander opportunities. That was what Joseph Human Boakai, who mustered the courage to tell Liberians. And he felt that by telling us that, Liberians should have celebrated him for telling Liberians after we have just emerged from a brutal war that devastated our country, and the greatest opportunity, in my opinion, since Liberia's existence was given to Joseph Human Boakai and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the Joseph Human Boakai, who will now start at telling us that he was dead parked car in a garage, will go further to tell Liberians that they have squandered opportunity. Here is the Heritage newspaper. You see the picture of Joseph Human Boakai right there. All right? Government squandered lots, not just opportunities, but he said lots of opportunity. These are the words of our former vice president. 12 solid years serving as vice president of the Republic of Liberia, a government that was massively funded by the international community, a government for which the international community, through the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Liberia, provided massive security. And so the issue of security threat was not an issue. They have enormous goodwill, enormous budgetary support. Security was there for them. Boakai was in that government as the man, the second man in command, or the second person in command. Boakai will come and tell us he was parked in a garage. You were parked in the garage for 12 years, and it is that car now you want us to take from the garage to use. And he will not stop there. He will dare tell us that they squandered lots of opportunity. But Boakai, I have news for you. Mr. Boakai, you are right. You squander a lot of opportunity. For the 12 years you were vice president, you did squander a lot of opportunity. Yes, you did. Your government squandered a lot of opportunities. So after you have squandered the opportunity, and just like Human Boakai said these things, when he has some form of agility in terms of his strength, as a human being. No, this is politics. This is we're talking about a country here. We have to be serious here. If you want to lead this country, if you want to be the president of the Republic of Liberia, we must look at your record and examine them critically, honestly, to determine whether or not you are the man or the woman for the job. And so I will continue to do this. Because we do not deserve any failed government. We do not deserve any failed leader. No, we do not deserve that. We have had enough of the failed leaders. And one of the reasons why we have had these leaders failing us, because we fail to look at their credentials. We fail to look at their records. I'm not a big fan of credentials that much. I'm a fan of records. I'm a fan of performance. I'm a fan of the ability to perform. I'm a fan of a leader who is developmental oriented with proving achievements that are visible. And not just because I was Minister of Days of Agriculture, or I was at FPMC, or I was at FPRC. No, that is not enough. That will not call it. We have had people who have served in those capacities, and our institutions, they have had an opportunity to serve, remain the same. So no, that is not what I'm looking for. I will look at your record. Wherever you serve, did you improve that institution to an appreciable level? Were the services that were being provided at that institution were delivered to the people efficiently and effectively, or you were just this official of government just warming your office chair, as many of our officials have been able to do over the years. So this is Boakai, 12 years as vice president. He could not do better at LPMC. He could not do better at agriculture. He could not do better at LPRC. In fact, he got dismissed for ineptitude, according to the law, his godson, as though those opportunities of serving and not performing or to the appreciation of the Liberian people were not sufficient opportunity for him to have learned from, to be able to redeem himself after becoming vice president, as though those previous opportunities were not enough. When Boakai had the opportunity, yet again, this time for solid 12 years, to serve the Liberian people, Mr. Boakai will have some unfortunate news for us. And that news was that they have squandered a lot of opportunity and that he was parked in a garage. I will come to that. You were parked in a garage for 12 years. Who parked you? So here is Mr. Boakai shifting blame on Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf parked him for 12 solid years. When he was at LPMC, was he parked also? Because according to my record, he did not deliver. He did not deliver. When he was at agricultural ministry, he did not deliver. Was he parked also by Doe? When he was at LPRC, he did not deliver. That was a main storage facility. During his time, Boakai did not even build additional storage facility. The only facility Liberia have had all along is in Avera, Moravia. That Monserrato County. This man, others would tell us, is a proven leader, could not build additional storage facility. Just a main storage facility. He could not build another one in any county, not even in his home county of Lofa County. He could not do that. If that is not a failure, then what is? And so, according to the Inquirer newspaper, in 1991, he was dismissed for gross ineptitude by Amos Sawyer. So, folks, Boakai talking about he was parked for 12 years. Boakai, you blaming Ellie? You accepted a position as vice president. You were the president of the Senate. You had a role constitutionally that could not be impeded by the president. And throughout that time, he said nothing. He said absolutely nothing. But when he decided that he would run to be president, that was when he would tell us that he will park for 12 years. Boakai, the last time I checked, when you were at PMC, you were never parked and you did not deliver. When you were at LPRC, you were not parked, you did not deliver. In fact, you were dismissed for ineptitude according to your godson, Darius DeLong. That is not my words. When you were at agriculture, though did not park you, you were a major in that government. And you did not deliver. So the idea that Ellen is the one who parked you is just laughable. You celebrate. You squander a lot of opportunities. 12 solid years. A well-funded government. A government that will give him massive debt relief. And that Boakai said he was parked for 12 years. Though he was parked for 12 years, but guess what he was doing? He said the car was parked. But if you look at the budget, cash from the budgets was rolling to his office. And that car that was parked in the garage, that was not being used, Boakai was still changing the tires. With a very fat budget, he was changing the tires, he was greasing the engine. Yet that car was parked. Mr. Boakai, you say you were parked. But every budget you netted pretty close to $2 million for a parked car. A parked car was getting $2 million nearly every budget here. And Boakai would tell us that car was parked. If you are a CPP person, I don't have good news for you today. I just have good news for Liberia. And the good news is that those who want to be president, we must look at their past record. We must look at their performance record before we can make the decision to elect them. I know many of us are worried today. Many of us are disappointed today. Many of us are not happy today with President George Weah. It's because we failed as a country to do the necessary due diligence. We were moved by emotion and we elected this humble man, as we thought, to be a president. And today, we are finding out the hard way. And so this sympathy for Joseph Yimam Boakai is so because we are being who he is, a man who has no leadership strength in him, is performing miserably. And so there is this sense of sympathy. Now, oh, maybe Liberia would have been better have we elected Boakai. But look at the record of Joseph Yimam Boakai, a man who said he squandered a lot of opportunity for 12 solid years. He was parked in the garage. And I would not hesitate to go in every angle to talk about this. Boakai was strong. So many times that parked car was found sleeping on the job. Joseph Boakai, nearly every time he attended a program, he would not be able to sit down for an hour. He would be falling asleep. Even though Joseph Yimam Boakai told us that he was parked. So the car that was parked, that was sleeping, you should have an engine. Usually when I get about 7 hours of sleep, if I go somewhere, I'm alert. But that was not the case with the parked car. He was found sleeping at nearly every major event as vice president. Well, maybe he was right. Ellen parking so much that he got used to sleeping. But that is a poor excuse from the VP. We can't take that excuse. Millions of dollars came into the country. And you were the able lieutenant of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You claim to be a man of the people. And all these excesses were going on and you won't voice out any opposition. You sat there supposedly and just to come and tell us that you were parked as a car and yet you will continue to receive a budget nearly $2 million every year. So Boakai said he was parked, but yet he was collecting the checks for a parked car, greasing all the engine. So Boakai is being Periscope today, folks. Let us look at something else here. Mr. Boakai, who came to campaign in 2017. Mr. Boakai wanted to be president. After serving as vice president, and the news he had for us was that he and Ellen had squandered lots of opportunity and that he was parked as a car. But that parked car, Joseph Boakai would want us to buy that parked car to take us to the promised land. But what happened during the campaign? We'll come to Joseph Yimam Boakai's budget. What happened during Joseph Yimam Boakai's campaign? What all happened during his presidential run? During the presidential run, When Joseph Boakai made a decision to run, when Joseph Boakai got to know that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was not in favor of him, and first of all, let me give you a little bit of history. Somewhere around 2015, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf started making effort to find somebody to replace her and serve as the Unity Party candidate for the election that will come in 2017. She had that meeting in 2015 somewhere at her place. Boakai attended that meeting. Clearly from that meeting, it was clear that Joseph Nkrumah Boakai was not the choice of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. He served this woman for 12 years. The woman knew that Joseph Nkrumah Boakai started his presidential ambition before she, Ellen, could call him to the table to form a ticket. She was in the know that Boakai had ambition. And I will argue that Boakai was privileged one. Boakai served her, loyally, and so it was wise to have allowed him. But the question is, why could Ellen not make that decision in favor of Boakai? Is it because Boakai was sleeping? She saw some qualities in him and brought him as her vice presidential candidate and then vice presidential president, right? For 12 years, they were in the kumbaya. Am I missing something? How will somebody who served you as vice president for 12 years, you will make a decision that that person was not qualified to be president of the Republic of Liberia? There is something that Ellen saw that we don't know about, intense ability. And so if Boakai was right that he was parked, maybe he was not up to the task that why Ellen parked him. That is why maybe Ellen will go further by not choosing or supporting her vice president to replace her as president. Something is not right there. The last time I checked, when Joe Biden decided to run, Obama was supporting him, and he won. I'm not saying, I'm not somebody who, I follow politics, people have competing interests, but there is something fundamental here. Why will Ellen not see the leadership ability in Boakai? But that was the decision she made. But there's something about it there. Fast forward, Joseph Boakai decided to take his own path. He met with the PUP. The PUP actually was funded by folks in the Unity Party who had left the Unity Party. When they left the Unity Party, they were not satisfied with the way things were going in the Unity Party. They funded the PUP. My research tells me that most of those guys, for some reason, they wanted an indigenous president. These things about indigenous, native, and conquer is still something around in the terrain of Liberian politics. So Joseph Nkrumah Boakai went and had a meeting with the PUP folks sometime in Banga. And because the ideology of the PUP folks that they wanted, quote unquote, an indigenous person to be a candidate. And Joseph Nkrumah Boakai started chatting his uncles. Yeah, quickly, he met with those folks. And when Ellen heard the news, said, oh, really? This is what Boakai is trying to do? And so fast forward, the Unity Party disintegrated. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in no time wanted, at first she wanted Mandela Wisse, along with names like, what's his name, Eugene Nambwe, to be the ticket at the time. But that's what Ellen wanted to do. Then Vanish Shema, Boakai, and Women Page, there was a faction. The atmosphere was charged at the time. Unity Party completely disintegrated. When Unity Party disintegrated, when they were fighting that war, that political war in the party, the Boakai, Shema, and Women Page faction won and took control of the Unity Party. Many of you are aware that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was expelled from the party. Fast forward, when Ellen left, what Ellen did was that someone was a heavyweight within the the party, Ellen started pulling the string and taking them out of the Unity Party. Hassan Bility, Musa Bility, was with the Unity Party. I know he would deny that he was not part of the Unity Party. He only supported, but he was an influential person in the Unity Party at the time. He too left, and that's how he went to the Liberty Party. So it was Musa Bility, the Medina Wise, all the folks, they left. And then fast forward, what's his name? Harrison Kanye will resign from the Unity Party, and he left. And Sononte and all these people, all these folks, they left. Jeremiah Sononte resigned, and he teamed up with Alexander Cummings, and then Harrison Kanye resigned from the party, and he too left. And what did he do? He joined Bruskin. So you see, key members of the Unity Party left. Some of them went, most of them went to Unity Party, or Liberty Party. And so fast forward, you saw that the Unity Party, it became an open secret that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf at some point felt that Bruskin was the guy. They were supporting Bruskin. Musa Bility left, other folks left, and they went to the Liberty Party. Ellen was in it. And another part I didn't tell you is that at that time, at some point when the tension was growing, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf hired now Deputy Speaker Franti Kofa to be her lawyer. Franti will go to become, I think, Deputy Minister for Presidential Affairs. He was Ellen's lawyer from my research. And what happened was that Ellen went and put him in charge of an investigation about, there was an investigation, and he was in charge. According to my research, the funds that were given to this committee that were headed by Franti Kofa, and Franti Kofa, as you well know, has been a member of the Liberty Party. Ellen brought him to be, her personal lawyer, and then head of a committee that were investigating people like Alex Tyler and Vanny Sherman, about a $750,000, from a complaint at the time. So that money, according to my research, was being channeled underground to the opposition Liberty Party. That is how these folks operate. So the Unity Party got disintegrated completely. The Boakai folks were not getting the support of the Unity Party from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Boakai could not keep the Unity Party together. There was a fight. Boakai would start to campaign. And during that campaign, what did Joseph Yimam Boakai have to say? Joseph Yimam Boakai was telling the Liberian people, if you love Liberia and build Liberia. And he accused Bruskin at the time that Bruskin was being supported by the Unity Party or being supported by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And Boakai started this Congo native divide that hurt him along the way. He started preaching the Congo thing. A man of that experience who has served in government for that long, you would think he would not go that low to start preaching native Congo politics in Liberia. Many of you who follow the campaign, if you can remember, Boakai was using that native Congo divide thing during that campaign. And he tried to preach that thing against folks like Charles Walker Bruskin. And also accusing Charles Walker Bruskin of being funded by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So Bruskin did not take it kindly, and Bruskin went after him. Bruskin went after Joseph Yimam Boakai very, very harshly too. And later on during the campaign, as you can see in this image, here is Joseph Yimam Boakai. Joseph Yimam Boakai turned his face on the other side. Ellen is smiling. You see George Weah there. George Weah is smiling. But before we get to that part, when Ellen kind of switched gear from the Liberty Party and started supporting George Weah, when she got to know that her support for the Liberty Party would not have gotten her choice of president who will go to protect her. She went to the CDC. So you can see somewhere during an event, Josiah Imam Boakai put him up on the other side. You see Josh, we are in the back there. Josh, we are smiling. So talking about the issue of the Liberty Party, Charles Walker Bronskin was not happy. He went after VP Boakai. Went after VP Boakai viciously. Yep, let me show you the newspaper article that captured that. Let me show you the newspaper article that captured that. He was not happy. He went after Boakai. He said, no, this Congo and native thing that you're bringing and this other accusation that I'm being funded by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, but I can tell you Ellen Johnson Sirleaf started funding the Liberty Party. Bronskin denied that, but it's a fact. So Boakai was right on that one. So as you can see here, Liberty Party Charles Bronskin described as nonsense VP Boakai insinuation. You see there? The political war. There is Bronskin. There is Boakai below. Describing Boakai insinuation as complete nonsense. What are those insinuations that he was talking about? One, that the country was not ready for a Congo person and Liberia needed a native president. Josiah Imam Boakai will go and say such thing despite being around. He knows about the history of this so-called Congo and native divide in Liberia. But because of votes, because of politics, this is all he had to say. So Bronskin went after him, and let me share with you some of the things Bronskin said. Bronskin did not take it kindly. Bronskin went after him viciously. So on the native and the native divide politics that he was preaching, Bronskin said, according to the newspaper, the Liberty Party leader expressed his fury over what he terms as divisive politics, the country politics which he claimed was being preached by supporters of the vice president. And we have also heard from political aspirants and their surrogates the preposterous allegations that the president is supporting me and non-honorable Joseph Imam Boakai, who is the United Party standard bearer, because she is Congo and I am Congo. Please, I beg all those seeking political office to stop trying to bring this division to our country again. It is the Liberian people who have kept their peace and hope since 2003, and they should be allowed to enjoy the dividends of peace, Bronskin said. According to him, the Romans of the president's support come from the fact that Liberty Party appears to be the better financed, than it was in 2011, adding that it is because the party has brought in its support. So Bronskin too was faking it, talking about, because they have brought in their 10 and that's why they were getting support. That is not true. Early finance. But what he said to Boakai, Liberians are tired of the demagogues dividing us and in the end killing the people, destroying the country only to become our rulers. This time around, we believe Liberians will elect the people who have them at heart, are most qualified, most prepared, have the relevant experience and requisite integrity to lead. As we say in Liberia, Bronskin said. Bronskin continued, that country man business, that country man business that people will eat, will that help market women and men to move from market store to stores? That country man business, are the poor people, or we get the poor people children to school. The Congo country man business will take health care to Liberians who live in the countryside. So there was Bronskin going after Mr. Boakai for what I want to classify as reckless rhetoric, a Congo and native divide politics that Boakai was preaching at the time. Bronskin was not happy with that. But Bronskin did not stop there. Bronskin then went into the budget of Josiah Imam Boakai. And let me bring you some numbers because numbers don't lie. Boakai said he was a packer, right? That they have squandered a lot of opportunities, right? So let's look at the budget. How much was Joseph Yuma Boakai getting? Joseph Yuma Boakai, who will go on to tell us that, during the time he said, rose during the campaign. And he went also by telling us, love Liberia, build Liberia. You were vice president for Liberia for 12 years. All right. And now campaign time, you want to tell us love Liberia and build Liberia. So let's see whether Joseph Yuma Boakai was able to show Liberia love in terms of the budget. So let's look at the budget. His son, George Lobo, will always want to talk about budget. So those of you who know George Lobo, you can tell him right now, let him come, let's talk about the budget. Let's see what Joseph Yuma Boakai was getting. So former Vice President Joseph Yuma Boakai's office budget. From the 2017-2018 fiscal year, the government has proposed to give the office of the Vice President $2,394,287. That was what was proposed for Joseph Yuma Boakai. And this was close to election, that the VP office supposed to get $2.3 million. Now, during that same time, what happened? Only US $1.3 million, which is $1,350,000, all right, was proposed for health institution for the 2017-2018 fiscal year in Lofa County. So this Joseph Yuma Boakai, in that 2017-2018 budget, supposed to get $2.3 million. But in his own county, Lofa, only $1.3 million. Let me look at my figure here. $1.3 million was budgeted for the entire county health sector. The man who said he was packed, he was getting $2.3 million. And he was telling us that love Liberia, build Liberia. But maybe we should say love Lofa County first, because Joseph Yuma Boakai was getting $2.3 million, while Lofa County was getting just $1.3 million for the entire healthcare system of the county he came from. So this one man was getting more money than his county. And he will come to tell us love Liberia. Why you couldn't show Lofa love by looking at that budget, former vice president, to tell these people that drafted the budget, said, no, I don't need that much money. Maybe my county should get that $2.3 million. No, Boakai would not say that. Even though he said that car was parked, but that parked car was getting $1.3 million. 2017-2018 budget. Now stopping there, for the fiscal year 2016-2017, the government will give the office of the vice president $2.1 million. Again, 2016-2017. Joseph Yuma Boakai, it was budgeted for his office to receive $2,193,759 for Joseph Boakai. So you see, nearly every year at some point, he was getting more than $1 million for his office. Yet, Lofa County, the entire healthcare system, was getting less than $2 million. For the fiscal year 2015-2016, the government gave the office of the vice president again another $2.3 million. That's what Joseph Yuma Boakai got for his office. And yet Joseph Yuma Boakai would tell us he was a packer. Joseph Yuma Boakai will go complain that he was not being financed by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And his folks will tell us that he's poor. Fast forward, in the 2014-2015 fiscal year, while Ebola was still raging and killing people in Lofa, the office of the vice president received $1.8 million. And Joseph Yuma Boakai will tell us, love Liberia, build Liberia. You should have shown Lofa County law. And for those of you who might have forgotten, Ebola started in Lofa County. But while Ebola was killing people, Josiah Human Boakai was walking away with that huge amount of money. And here it is, 2014-2015 fiscal year. While Ebola was raging and killing people in Lofa County, the office of the vice president received $1.8 million. Where is Josh Lobo, the budget guy, the Josiah Human Boakai guy? And Josiah Human Boakai will come and tell us, love Liberia, build Liberia. Why he couldn't build Liberia that time? Why he didn't show the people of Lofa County love before we talk about Liberia? What was the love that Josiah Human Boakai was showing the Liberian people? Look at the budget. Boakai was just showing himself love. He was not showing the Liberian people love. So this idea that he's this excellent public servant who serves honorably, I don't know, some people really understand the meaning of the word honorably. Or that you just say in the office, you don't insult anybody, you don't step on anybody's toe, and that's that honorable. Whether or not you sat in that office apparently and did nothing, then it's honorable. No wonder why Liberia is this way. That people will come to government, occupy offices, will not make impact in the life of the Liberian people, and then they will classify them as serving honorably. What is honorable in just collecting fat checks and salary for yourself and walking away? Why the life of the people remain the same? Is there anything honorable in that? So the Unity Party disintegrated. Boakai could not get it together. Boakai would go to lose that election because he couldn't get it together. So fast forward, Josiah Human Boakai, in total since 2014 budget here, and over the 3 years that time, the vice president office has received 8.7 million US dollars. So in 3 years period, Josiah Human Boakai, starting from 2014 all the way to 2017. In 2017, when he will go to contest as president, Josiah Human Boakai office alone got nearly 9 million US dollars. The office of the vice president. The vice president who told us that he was parked as a car in the garage. While that car was in the garage, he received nearly 9 million, to be exact, $8.9 million. That's why he received. And that parked car, he was changing the tires, even though he was not driving that car. That parked car, he was changing engine, greasing the engine, even though he was not driving that car. By his own definition and speaking figuratively. The car was parked. He was still changing the spark plugs. He was still changing oil, even though that car was parked in the garage. He said Ellen parked that car. But he got nearly $9 million for that car that was parked. And who is that parked car? Josiah Human Boakai. That's why he said, as vice president, I was like a car parked in the garage. So it is this car that was parked in the garage for 12 years. This car that will go and tell us that the squander lots of opportunities. This is the car that people will tell us has exceptional public service record, all because he was good at receiving 2.8 million, 2.3 million, 1.8 million in every budget, year after year, to the point that from 2014 all the way to 2017, he got nearly $9 million. That is the exceptional public service record that he has, because he was getting the fattiest budget. And by the way, Josiah Human Boakai received the largest budget in the history of Liberia vice presidents. Go look at the numbers. Go look at the numbers. Boakai received more money as vice president of Liberia, more than any other vice president in the history of Liberia. And this man will come and tell us he will park as a car. What kind of man park his car in a garage that he's not using and yet will change oil, change spark plugs, and do all that? What's the essence of it? And will cry that Ellen was not supporting him. All the money you make, you couldn't keep money to run. Ellen, you are depending on. Ellen gave him away. Started crying. So this excellent record that Joseph Yuman Boakai has, I answered and said, don't see it. Joseph Yuman Boakai has been in government for 40 years. Liberia has given him an opportunity of his lifetime. And yet he does not want to give room to anybody. It must be him. Why? Are you the only Liberian in the land? I understand it's your right. Who are the leaders that he has prepared as leader in the Unity Party? They refer to him as the statesman in the CPP. The CPP has been around for nearly 3 years. The CPP as an institution does not even have a website. Hello? CPP as an institution does not even have a website. And this is the institution that Joseph Yuman Boakai is in as an elderly statesman, a man of proven public service record. He is not providing guardians. They fail as an institution, the CPP, to even do a county tour in 3 years. As an elderly statesman, what kind of guardians that he's giving to these people that he sees as just coming to the fold? Who are the leaders that he has prepared to take over the mantle of leadership? Should he leave the same? Who are the leaders? That Moali, that DeLong, the very DeLong who said that, he stole $2 million under the Doe administration, that he was fired from LPRC for gross ineptitude. These are DeLong's words, not my words. A man you see as a career public servant with immense experience of the history of Liberia and governance in the country, started running for president and brought this ugly politics of native versus Congo. And that is why Bronsky went after him viciously. That the Concord native thing will send people, children to school just because of votes. That was what he was preaching. Look at the budget. Where is George Lobo? Look at the budget. Lobo will tell us that he is Joseph Humble Boakai. Folks, this is the hour of politics. Focus on Liberia with me, Anthony Sia, your host. Focus on Liberia has started a yearly Periscope series. The Periscope series is where we look at public officials' public record to x-ray them and examine their record to see whether they were able to perform and deliver in previous position to give the Liberian people the opportunity based on their performance in the past. They are worthy of becoming leaders. 12 years vice president, crying he was parked by his own admission. He squandered a lot of opportunities. He will come to tell Liberia during the campaign when they asked him about a platform, Rose. Really, Boakai? Rose? Well, I got news for you. Let me show you something, folks. Here is Boakai again. Here is Boakai again. Let me show you something here. So this is an article November 2nd, 2015, U.S. and Republic of Liberia signed new $257 million agreement to fight poverty in Liberia. In the picture, as you can see, there is Joseph Imam Boakai standing over Americana, and then there are two officials of the U.S. government signing for this $257 million agreement for Liberia during the time Joseph Imam Boakai was president. Another significant funding being received while he was vice president, and there is Mr. Boakai witnessing the signing of that money to be given to Liberia to reduce poverty. Right? Do you know what that money was for? Let me bring you that information. And let me read here quickly. The 5-year compact with Liberia combines infrastructure investments with policy and institutional reforms designed to modernize, to do what? To modernize Liberia's power sector and strengthen its roads maintenance system. That was one of the reasons for the funding. Again, to modernize the country's power sector. We're talking about current throughout their administration. He saw the signing of this money. The money was intended also to modernize Liberia power sector, to provide electricity in Liberia. During Ellen administration, 12 solid years with all the funding that they received. How many of you enjoy stable current in your homes in Liberia? How many of you enjoy stable current in Liberia? I mean, let me forget about Liberia. In Monrovia, just Monrovia. The Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration that was being co-captained by former Vice President Joseph Imam Boakai could now provide stable electricity in Monrovia, just Monrovia. They could not. They failed miserably. 12 solid years. And so I'm here. And that time, at least, Joseph Boakai had a little bit of energy, I will argue. And this is the man you think 6 years after, when he had little energy, we saw him sleeping to the point that he earned the nickname in politics, Sleepy Joe. He was sleeping. He was seen sleeping most of the time. And you think 6 years later, he will have the energy to lead Liberia? Joe, please give others way, man. This thing is not your power fund. Because your records, your public service record tell otherwise. I mean, according to your son DeLong, you were dismissed for gross ineptitude from LPRC. When you were vice president, according to you, you were PAC. You think that PAC had Liberia won? Liberia is behind 100 years in terms of development. We don't need a PAC car, a car that squandered opportunity for 12 solid years. And what was he doing? He was collecting nearly $2 million every year in his budget. His county, Lofa County, he could not show Lofa County love. Lofa County remains one of Liberia's underdeveloped counties. Anything significant, the Boakai carry to Lofa County. Folks who are from Lofa, come and educate me here. Give me some information. Let me learn. $257 million. He saw the ceremony. He was there. Money was intended to modernize Liberia power sector. In 2015, they signed it. 2015, 2016, 2017, he was still vice president. Nearly Solely 2 years. Money was made available. They could not provide stable electricity in Moravia. And you think that's what qualifies him to be your next president? After he said the squander opportunities? I disagree. I disagree. I definitely disagree. And so, folks, in cyberspace, I want to say thank you here for following our broadcast here. I focus on Liberia. Let me see if I was able to give you everything I needed to give you. Yes, I think I did. So the phone lines are open. The phone number to call is 605-313-6004, and the code is 791-403#. So while you call, let me read the 109 comments. That's a lot. I will do my best, folks. I will do my best to read. Wow, that is a lot of comments. All right. So let's see this one from Mr. Logan here. No doubt you are one of the leaders in waiting. Am I the one you talking to? Well, I don't know. Watching you live from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us there. This one from Sedula CA. Your commentary on Senator Dillon the last time, you were wrong, and you were wrong and mislead him. I don't know what you're trying to say, but you said, I was wrong, but the mislead part, that's what I don't understand. You just said he was born in 1994. If I said that, then I'm wrong. That was 1944. Thank you for pointing that out. Joseph Imam Boakai was born in 1944. Thank you for that correction. That is correction. I appreciate that. John Manlo was born in 1944. Thank you, folks, for correcting me here. I appreciate that. Oh, everybody on this thing, did I hear that Boakai was born in 1944? Oh, folks, that was 1944. 1944, November the 30th in 1944. Folks, you're leaving 1944 thing now. Wow. I said that. Okay, let me see. The Boakai was born 1937, somebody said, but the record I read that came from some of his supporters said 1944. Find something to say, my brother. In Europe, they are using cutlass at that time. Cutlass of Liberia. Talk less of Liberia. During that time, Liberia was producing flour. Look for comments here. No one can transform LPMC due to public policy guideline. Please research your facts. All right. This person said you need not to buy it because your mind is made up about VP Boakai. Was Mr. Boakai the president of Liberia? Furthermore, Mr. Boakai could only take recommendation to the president of Liberia. That's what you think. That is what it's an argument. It's a debate. Look, we need to stop looking to Europe or to US to do it for us. Yeah, that's why I'm going after Mr. Boakai. He has had tremendous opportunity to transform Liberia. Mr. Ho, you was just a child at the time. This person, right? Mr. Ho, you was, I think you meant to say you were. Okay, Ablamo, I think he meant to say we need a new leader who will fundamentally change Liberia. I think that's what Blambo meant to say, and he corrected that we need a new leader who will fundamentally change Liberia. Let me see this one from Goya. He was fired by President Doe and Sawyer. Somebody is confirming what Dillon said, even though Mo Ali would disagree. Let's see, Jackie Sawyer, Amos Sawyer himself left much to be desired. He gave us this horrible 9 years term for senator and help to make laws that has given us the imperial executive. Jackie, I have no argument there. This is from Mianta. what international training or professional development did Mr. Boakai obtain in any of the job positions he held as Vice President, Work Communication, Corroboration, and Collaboration did Mr. Boakai hold with his colleagues of VP on the continent that generated some sort of result for the nation and people of Liberia? How many copies of Mr. Boakai's book did he donate to the institution of higher learning in the nation? Is there any facilities which bears the name of Mr. Boakai? Well, good questions there. That is for those who are in the corner of Mr. Boakai. My job is to periscope him and folks to make that determination. Again, folks, Boakai was born 1944, according to my research, and not 1994, and I apologize for that. Mangil put light in his neighborhood, and you people complain. So he must steal money and put light there. Well, that is your comment. We don't have a call here. Maybe that is good for me because I took most of the time today to Periscope Mr. Boakai. On a powerful executive branch of government, what institutional changes in those public institutions did you expect from Honorable Boakai? For example, what changes Florence Commonwealth implemented at the Florence implemented at the Agricultural Ministry under President Turbo when our political economy was up to standard and even better than most of our neighboring countries? That is the question. That is the question, and it's the same question I'm asking. Did Mr. Boakai perform well at the time? James Zodwa, Samoka is not a criminal. It appears he was set up by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That is an entirely different topic. Let's see this one from Ellen. No, not from Ellen, from Sape Ellen Paul. That could be a good question for the person. So that means you don't believe that current government officials are stealing, saying they are still in the country, right? All right, somebody is making a case that saying Boakai is in the country, nothing happened. Well, you're listening to me. All right, folks, at this time, we will like to conclude our broadcast here. I focus on Liberia. But before I can conclude, let me take this short break, hoping that somebody gives us a call. No one has called yet. Let me see if someone can give us a call. Let me take a short break, and I will be right back. Short break. All right, folks, we are back with you here. Let me read some comments and then close the broadcast. The one with the most money to spend on winning the media propaganda. Let's get this one from Sam Wallow. What if you just said, Anthony, that Sirleaf turned her back on Boakai because she didn't trust him to protect her and therefore threw her support behind Weah? Then this entire hour and everything you said and everything you have shared to this point was just undone. That is a fine point. I'd agree with you, but still, that would not undo all of the things that I have said. All right. That was just another point I was making when I said that, well, could it be that he didn't have those leadership qualities that Ellen wanted to see in somebody? I was just questioning that, to see that, well, that could be a possibility. I don't see how that has taken away Boakai's saying that they squandered a lot of opportunity, that he was the park car, yet he was receiving millions and millions of dollars in his budget, and he said nothing. And then he came on to say, oh, or build Liberia, love Liberia, and yet he would not be able to show Liberia love. I see a color here. Let me take this color quickly. Color, bear with me. Color, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go for it.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Jake Victor Nagy. I'm calling you from Atlantic City in South Jersey. So I really wanted to thank you. I listen in every now and then, but this is I'm very happy that I turned in today. I came in a little late on your contribution, but the part of it that I got, at least I think you did a lot of justice. I have nothing personal against Ambassador Boakai. As a matter of fact, he came from my UPP before he, rose through the ranks of United Party and all that. My point is, we seem to have an infatuation with our so-called politicians without really actually taking a closer look at the track record, performance, what it is that the opposition is agitating about. I have nothing to for Weir. I know you said it earlier that there is a lot of hurt that is going around. People are disappointed because there is a lot that we think this government could be doing, which is not being done. I get that. But again, criticism is not only about identifying the problem. What solutions are you proposing? We can't just criticize the government. We did that for so many years. Every time somebody comes on board, we criticize, we claim to be better. We come in and we do the same thing. Mr. Weir, for instance, he agitated for 12 years before he even became president. He was in the Senate. And yet he comes into the national with apparently no plan. Now, Dr. Boakai, just like he clearly said, yes, he was the vice president for Mrs. Johnson. But you already ran the numbers of the amount of money that went through this man's office to the point where even his office received more money than the health sector in his own county.
Sure.
And this is an honorable man that we are agitating for today to come into the mansion. I mean, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up? So, I mean, I know you say you were closing out, but I just wanted to thank you. I'm really hoping, some of us are not in Liberia. So when election season is coming around, we don't know how our people assess the candidates. Do we just elect people in the office based on probably, the flashiness that they bring to us or whatever it is? We don't pay attention to the progress. I listen to Mr. Pastor, for instance, every morning. He lives in Delaware. He's not far from me. When I take my morning walk, I listen to him. Yeah, he has a lot of criticism. But what are the solutions that they are advancing? The so-called COP or DPP or whatever it is. What is it that they're advancing that they are going to do differently? They're going to do better than what is happening now. So, we listen to you guys, and I just wanted to thank you for this contribution that you made today. I really hope this is not a cancel Boakai campaign. This is not bring down a Boakai campaign, but it is a realistic, analytical look. And not just Boakai, and anybody right now who's on the spectrum, from the Weir to the Costa, to the Dillon, to the Tyler, to the Ure, to all these guys who are clamoring to this. What is it that they are going to do differently? What are their proposals? What are they bringing to the table?
Thank you,
other than just trying to agitate to make Weir look bad and replace him, if that is what they're agitating about, then I'm sorry, it's not enough. So I wanted to thank you so much. I'll try to listen to you again. Hopefully, I will hop on you again on another important topic. Thank you very much. Again, this is Jay Victor Number signing off.
All right, Mr. Number, thank you for joining us here at Focus on Liberia. And that's the thing. I am not saying to you, Josiah Yemam Boakai should not be your president. I'm not saying to you, he shouldn't be your president. All I'm saying to you is you have to look at his record. You got to look at the things he said. You have to look at the opportunities he's had that, according to him, being squandered by his own admission. Those are not my words. So look at that and decide whether or not he should be your president. He is in the CPP. They call him the elder statesman in the CPP. So look at that. How is the CPP doing? They came up with a framework. They pulled it back. They said that is not the right one. They are yet to come up with the correct one. He is there as the elder statesman. They don't even have a website. We don't know what they are for. We know what they are against. They against corruption. They against the CDC government. And you know, I'm against corruption. I'm against all the vices in the CDC government. I stand against all the bad doings of officials in the CDC government. But what are you doing about it? What are your plans? Show all your team on agriculture. Show all your team on the economy. Show all your team on education, that working on education, so that should you win, these individuals will be into government and start, you know, doing work right away. We don't see that. The elder statement is there. 30 to 40 years of experience in government, and yet he does not know that when you are in opposition, you are a government in waiting, so you must be shovel ready. He does not know. He's just sitting there. These are the things I'm telling you. Look at this that's a behavior on this part of all these opposition leaders. All they do is just criticize, criticize. No plan. This is 2021. Campaign start next year for 2023. The political work starts next year. They don't have a plan. They don't even have a website for the CPP. I can start institution today. In 2 weeks' time, you will have my website running. Focus on Liberia is just a Liberian news organization. We have a functional website. These are people that want to lead a whole country. They don't have a website. Let me bring in the man Kesali Double here. Mr. Double, quickly to the issue.
I'm the political commentator. Yeah. My brother, I think this show is becoming to be one of my favorite shows. Periscoping our political leaders. And I want to say thanks for the good job. I must admit, you are doing very well. You are improving day by day. And you are giving my admiration. Why is true that today you are punishing my political leader? But I don't think some of us who are members of these zero political parties who love these zero political leaders that you are periscoping should actually be angry. I don't think so. For the fact that some of the information you are giving have sources, I think we should use them to our advantage. Do more research and see where those mistakes were made. So instead of us coming on the show because it is against us today to condemn you for saying what you are saying, and then when it comes to other political parties, we cheer for you, I think we should use this information to be able to work out with directly improving our backyard. Some of the other meeting and say, hey, what was the mistake made? Why did we make the mistake in the first place? Can we make another improvement in this area? You know, that's what we should be doing. And when it comes to that issue, most times I ask the question over and over, but yet I can't get any answer. I ask the question on both sides. Why did Madame Salih, having served with Joseph Boakai for 12 good years, push it on the side to select another person? Is it political? Is it because of managerial expertise that she did not person for? Then I ask myself again, if it is because she did not struggle to be a manager, why did she then stay with him for 12 years? Then I ask myself again, is it political? You know, there are too many, answers. There are too many questions that we still cannot find answers for. You know? So there's a need that we dig deeper, get more evidences, like you always provide on this platform. Come on, keep some of these things. And these things are not going to go away. Facebook is a filing area for some of us. Before we used to put them into big files to keep them, somebody waiting to come and eat them all. And now they will go on Facebook and file them and keep them on those documents. So about 2-3 years from now, Facebook will remind us and then we'll go back to them. Let's use these things to our advantage instead of coming on in it against our political leaders to be condemning Liberians. Please, I'm calling on all of us who come to this show and listen to the people. Once there are fights provided like we just did on this platform, let's use it. Political season will soon be here. We can ask our political leaders why they did this, and what different are they going to do this time around. Instead of coming to condemn and insult. So I want to say thank you. Like I said, you are improving every day and keep on a good job. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Doba. Thank you. Let me bring in the man. Yeah. Go ahead. I think the first name is Eugene. Eugene, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm Eugene Lisson. I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina. I want to first of all thank you for your analysis today. I mean, this is a very good work that you need to do for most of the people that will want to be into power. I think it will give chance to those who are very sound in decision making to make the best decision for the betterment of Liberia. You see, just as it touched the old man's story today, some other things came into my mind that you didn't touch. Just one of the things. You know, on the football field, everybody have a wing. Mm-hmm. As an agriculturist, see what happened when the mechanized farming project came into Liberia. Go into Lofa. Those machines, majority of those machines are wasting into Lofa. For me, when I say today, sometimes I feel that was his wing. When they say your wing on the football field, that means that the area you know best.
Right.
All the time, the issue was lingering. Those machines were up and down in that place. What was McIntosh position so much more than the vice president? You couldn't jump on that thing.
Yeah.
Even if Ellie parked you as a car and paying you a parking fee, maybe you are using the money to do parking fee every year. That agricultural project, you should have said something about it. Last minute of time, you saw Ellie pushing you aside. What did you say? Nothing. You still did not say nothing. You still did not wake up to say, oh, my people, this government is pushing me aside. Let us see that you are being pushed aside, but you still sat there. And our leaders, especially the old man, that old man, he has not been doing well at all. Moreover, all the opportunities. Look at Lofa County.
And this is a county
somehow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody tries somehow to do a little for their county. Look at the representatives. Let's say the representatives and the senators. Most of them, you see, they're doing something in their county. But I don't know. Besides the eldership, that when he says something or when he lets somebody here, everybody go behind him. I don't know whether that is the most important thing that the people of Lofa like. But if he from my side and he can't do nothing, then he just go look for somebody here. I think I will have to question him. Oh man, you have to do something. And maybe that's how the people are. Because I remember what is other vice president name, the one that was dead.
Moluba? Yeah, Moluba. Harry Moluba. Yeah.
Moluba was the same. Moluba was living here the year. Yeah, Moluba had their job pulling her, but when Moluba is driving into his yard, you see the dust. He wasn't living in the bush. He was not living in the bush. But only in his yard, only in his fence was quota. But the road from the EAWA road coming all the way down to Copper Beach there, you make a little right, then you go a little way in front, George Bolle House is there. These guys, they don't do nothing. So they are mean.
Eugene, thank you.
They are together.
Thank you so much. The contribution you made about Lofa, the project there, yes. I mean, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, folks, so there you have it. And something that just slipped my mind, I want to share with you. Josiah Yaman Boakai, when he was not vice president, the fence around his house was like to the window level of his house. So you could stand on the outside and see the roof of his house. You could even see the windows or the portion of the house from the window to the roof of the house. You could see it. When Joseph Yaman Boakai became vice president, even though United Nations mission was providing security for him, Joseph Yaman Boakai went and elevated the fence of his house from the window level of his house far above his house. So as I speak, if you go to Joseph Yaman Boakai's compound, if you stand in front of the fence, you might not see the roof of the house. When he became vice president, that's what he did. That was the development he carried on. So when you make him president, I guarantee you, that roof will go up again. I mean, the fence will go up again. That's just something I wanted to share with you. So this is what the leaders do. They just improve their own life, where they live, their fence, their cars, their homes, as though that's the reason why people put them in this position. That's not a reason. It's for you to improve the lives of the people. But they don't get to do that. And what I'm saying is that we should look at these people. We should look at their past record and then be able to make a decision. Edit this statement in the CPP. They don't have a plan. CPP does not have a plan. And Joseph Yaman Boakai, who been in government for 40 years, is an edited statement in the CPP. No website. He's sitting down. He's not talking about it. No plan. How they will lead Liberia. The same thing he did when he ran for the election in 2017. Sat there throughout, said nothing, just to come and tell us, rose, 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 rose. But when the money came to build a road, I mean, to do some things, I don't know. I mean, you have 12 years, you didn't build all the roads. That now you say you're going to build the roads. 12 years. You're sitting down there. You said nothing. Well, I'll bring you a little commercial here quickly so we can conclude this broadcast. But before the commercial, let me share something with you. This is the proverb of the day from Focus on Liberia. Proverb of the day. A girl never runs to overtake her own breast. That is an African proverb. A girl never runs to overtake her own breast. Think about it. Well, let's bring you some commercial here. This Thursday, March 4 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be having a gentleman by the name of Alfred Jack Johnson. He is a law enforcement officer. We'll be talking about law enforcement in Liberia. There are many cases, reported suicide of the EPS officer, the incident in Bapulu County involving Country Devil, multiple SGBV cases, arrest, the underground escape of Ellen Cochran, Heron Costard, and other issues that border around security. We have the law enforcement professional who is coming to help us understand these things. And then this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, I love this one. You don't want to miss this one. We will be talking about the state of internet in Liberia. The state of internet, meaning how is internet looking in Liberia? I mean, when we talk about internet, do we have reliable internet in Liberia? You do not want to miss this. We will have Dr. Lionel Bernard. He is an IT executive and also an author. He will be here. He is a Liberian. He is a professional. He is one of the IT professionals for the Washington, D.C. metro area. He works with, I think, the metro government there in Washington, D.C. This is his area. The guy knows this stuff. So we'll be looking at the state of internet in Liberia, the current state of internet, the national network infrastructure. Do we have a national network infrastructure to make internet available? In fact, has there been any research? Has there been any effort for us to build an internet infrastructure in Liberia? We will bring you that information, and the man, Dr. Lionel Bernard, has that information and he will share it. And then how can the internet help to boost our economy? We will talk about that. Then you will also talk about Google and Facebook projects. How can Liberia as a nation take advantage of these projects that Facebook and Google are carrying on, around the world? How can we tap into that? And last but not least, cybersecurity. Should Liberians be worried about the availability of internet? And also, Anthony Joan, who is the executive director at the Organization for Women and Children, will be here on Saturday, March 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. GMT, and we'll be discussing women and challenges in the Liberian legal system: custody, marriage, divorce, spousal support, community property, and land ownership. We will be discussing these things on Saturday, that's 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, live here at Focus on Liberia. You do not want to miss it. And yet, I Focus on Liberia, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. And I want to remind you, Focus on Liberia Periscope series continues. We will let you know through our Facebook. Maybe next Tuesday, we will be periscoping Joel Howard Taylor or Buffer Chamber. I got these two individuals on my mind. I will go into their public closets and bring out some things that you need to know, so that when you have the opportunity to vote for any of them, you will make a wise decision. Our goal is not to say how bad they are, but just to put their record out there because they are public officials. We want to know how they have been serving, for which maybe should they be attempting to want another position, whether or not the Liberian people should give them the opportunity to serve. So that would do it for commercial here. We will now come to the end of this broadcast here. I Focus on Liberia, and I'm Anthony Sia. Was happy to have brought you yet another exciting edition of the Hour of Politics through our Periscope series. This time, the song that says, "We are all Liberians" is taking us home. Like that song. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians.